We'll let you know when we get. Look, I got a half and a nut. I got
But it has to fit inside. Not that anybody these days is from us.
Shabbat shalom. We're going to get started. We're beginning on page 10 of Yedin Nefesh. Yedin Nefesh Ha'arakaman Meshobat El Ritzona Yarutata Kemoaya Ishtachazel Muladara Iyerabo Yedituta Inobetsu Beholtam Hadur Naziv Haolam Nashikolata Mata Ana Elka Refanavan Beharotla Noam Siva Asti Chazek Vechitra Vehaitava Shivatolam Vati Yehurafa Mecha Mefuzna Benoava Kizekama Pitzok Nitza Virot V'tiferetuza Ana Eli Machmadivi Ushana Ve'altitalam Igalena Uprot Kavimalai Sheloma Taireret Nigevota Nagila Venismechava Maherahu Kiva Moed Pages 11 and 12, Psalm 95. Adonai Nari Alexor Yishenu Nekahara Betodah Mizmiro Nari Alo Yel Gadol Adonai Umelech Gadol Al Kol Elohim Asher Be'yado Mefkerei Haaretz V'tochot Harihim Lahot. Arba'im Shana Kuz B'tor Omar 13 and 14. Shiru Ladonai Shir Hada Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz Shiru Ladonai Baruch Shemo Basru B'yom L'yom Yeshuato Safru B'goyim Kevoto B'chol Ha'amim Niflota B'gadol Adonai U'u'al Me'od No Rahu Al-Kol Elohim Ayai B'kol Elohei Ha'amim Elilim V'Adonai Shamayim Asa Od V'Hadar Lefanav V'Tiferet V'Mikdasho Haful Adonai Mishpachot Amis Haful Adonai Kavod Haful Adonai Kevod Shemo Zeu Mikal Olef Ashrotai Yishtachavu Adonai Ve'al Rakoder Zilu Mihana Kol Haaretz Yikru B'goyim Adonai Malach Avdi Kotela Ba'al Timo Yadin Ami Be'Mei Sharim Yismechu Hashamayim V'tagel Haaretz Giram Hayam U'mo Ayai Yalosatai V'chol Asher Bo Az Yirnidu Kol Hatzayar Hiknei Adonai Kiva Yishvot Haaretz Yishvotei Bel Betzedek Ve'yamim Ve'emunato Adonai Malchayel Haaretz Yismuvim Ramim Anan Barachos V'Vasar Nu Mishpat V'Chok Yiso. Let's go to page 16. O Adonai Zinuka Shomer Nashon Kasita B'Yamrishim Yatzilei Motorula Tzadik L'Yisrael Simcha Simchu Tzadikim Adonai Hodu Zecher Kodesho Mizmor Shilonai Shir Kadash Kinigol Asal Shir Lemino Zerah Kodesho. V'hiternai ki Yival Yishvot Haaretz Yishvot Eilo B'Tzedek Amim B'Mei Sharim. Pages 19 and 20. Adonai Malchim Gezu Amim Yoshet Rubin B'Nut Haaretz Adonai B'Sim Gadol B'Ram Kol Amim. Roman Adonai Eloheinu Shachadu Arkodesho Kivadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Those crumbled wings will rise, page 21. Mizmor leDavid, Avul Adonai Be'emi, Avul Adonai Kavod Ba'ozainai, Avul Adonai Kevod Shemo Yishach, Avul Adonai Be'asrak Kodesh, Kol Adonai Al-Hamayim El HaKavod Hirim, Adonai Al-Hamayim Rabim, Kol Adonai Baro Alayai, Kol Adonai Be'adar, Kol Adonai Shomer Haradim, Vayishaper Adonai Eder Ze'almagon, Vayar Kinei Zemoegel, Lebanon, Besirion, Gemodei, Ayayay, Kol Adonai, Ozel Hamatesh, Kol Adonai Yadu Mibar, Yakil Adonai Mibar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Seated. The helper for the Here we go, page 23. Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela. Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela. Shavor kisavor delibur echad ishmiyanim, elamika Rosh mi eden esu faso masem ashamadima echadodili krakala shabane kabela mikash melechirduva kumitei mitova bekara vashevet Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela, hika arime avargumi lishivite, tiparte ami alyane shai, beitalavi korbael, nachigema, Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela, hitoreri, hivavore, uri, shir daveri keforanar, alayinima, Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela, Lote Moshe Veloti Kalmi Mati Shokati Umatemi Ha Ketesu Ani Ani Veritesa Irati La Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela, ayun shisa Shosai Beratva Kuko Mevalai Yasisalai Elohai Yimsasatan Akala Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela, Yami Yusmo Tiprativiata Tronai Kaviti Alyani Ben Parti Ben Yismeva Ben Agila Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela, Oviver Shalom Aterepa Gambesimba Uvisola Tokemune Amsegula Povimala Echadodili krakala, pene shavane kabela. Be seated. Continue with the Psalm 35, pages 27 up to 28. Needs more tears, the Yom HaShabbat. Tzadika Tamarira Ke'eres Almanon Is Yeshetu Udun Besema, Eshehi Merananim, Yiru Le'agid, Yashar Adonai, Suri Melo'alatavo. Page 29. Nenama Bulate, Salvation Nights, Bizarre, Sequence, the Halting Mode. Mikola to my granny, my dreams for Yama, dear, Ramadanai, the Tapanen, the Mayo, the Vikana, Bakodesh, and Nai, the Yami. We're at the Corners Cottage for kind of yard sites for this week. Today, we recall the yard sites of Murray Appel, Leon Dress, Robert Dritz, Rita Goldberg, Sal Hokdor, Mandy Lazarnik, and Sylvia Leader, Sam Newman, Beatrice Stark, Maurice Singleton, Pearl Zadok. Beginning tonight and into the week, the yard sites of Rosalie Epstein, Phyllis Friedman, Kurt Herman, Mary Eitel, Samuel Leader, Daniel Lewis, Arthur Rosnick, Ronnie Ross, Leah Stark, Walter Strauss, Ralph Tucker, George Walter, Julius Eitel, Darren Kaplan, Mary Manaker, Alvin Schoenig, Cheryl Tuttle, William B. Alexander, Bella Leah Bloom, Doris Cohn, Phyllis Frank, Laura Cass, Natalie Conter, Nathan Tenenbaum, Frida Wolf, Richard Halitsky, Joan Horowitz, Huda Eitel, Israel Leader Thing, Dov Udlow, Pauline Gold, Sophie Gus Jacobs, Sophia Kaiser Fluid, Teddy Kozel, Monroe Solidar, Phyllis Weinstein, Judy Applebaum, Della Cohn, Arthur Garrett, George Lessner, Jeanette Sugar Nelson, Emily Grant, Rebecca Plutsky Adler, Manny Roth, Ruth Walensky. We keep all of those names in our prayers as everyone arise to support the mourners and those with the yard site want to touch page 30. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shmeirah, may Almighty rock your say, may Amlik Malute, Mechaegon, Yomegon, Lukaed, Volvek Israel, Ba'adolav, Yisman, Karibi, Rumin, Yehish, Shmeirah, Barak, Alam, Lameamaya, Yifarak, Yishtabak, Yifar, Yiframam, Yifasei, Yifadar, Yifalev, Yifalal, Shmei, Gudishabiriku. Le'elam Yikol Birata V'Shirata Tusharata V'Nechemata Ta'amiran Ve'alam Yimrein Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya Ve'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen Aseh Shalom V'Brama Huya Aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen.
Shalom. So in this week's Parsha, in Shemot, the first Parsha of the book of Exodus, there is a scene that Robert Alter, who's a Jewish scholar, calls the most enigmatic episode in Exodus. So don't make me define for you enigmatic, but it's definitely the most something. There is a bizarre moment in the narrative that every time I read through jumps out at me. So we might be familiar with the basics of the converse of the story. Moses is getting instructions to go save the Israelites who are being held enslaved by Pharaoh in Egypt. We know it's going to be dangerous. Pharaoh is powerful and has many soldiers, and Moses is one person. But the Israelites are being held, we might even say captive. Pharaoh doesn't want them to leave. And so Moses is sent by God with a stick that turns into a snake, and God's accompaniment, and his knowledge, and his brother Aaron, to go rescue his people. Now, especially now where we are today as Jews, you might wish, well, yeah, this is a good mission, you've got God on your side, may everything happen well and smoothly. But as we know the story of Exodus, that's not the case. It takes quite a while for Moses to free the Israelites from Egypt. But that's not the story that I want to talk about, because something bizarre even happens before that. Moses has God's blessing. He's heading towards Egypt to do what God has told him to do. The Lord says to Moses, when you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the marvels I've put within your power. I will stiffen, however, Pharaoh's heart, so he will not let the people go. And you'll say to Pharaoh, thus says the Lord, Israel is my firstborn son. I have said to you, let my son go. yet you refuse to let him go. Now I will slay your firstborn son. A little foreshadowing, we know that part of the story. Moses is going to do exactly that, follow that instruction. And on the way, at a night encampment, maybe a hotel on the way to Egypt, God finds Moses and tries to kill him. So it's a very quick thing. It's just this one verse. But even though Moses is going to do exactly what God said, there is some sort of danger, some sort of violence on the way, and God tries to kill Moses, and he's going to rescue the Israelites. The next part, I think, though, is what Robert Alter and what I find bizarre. And so, Zipporah, Moses' wife, took a flint and cut off her son's foreskin and touched his legs with it, saying, "You are truly a bridegroom of blood to me," and God no longer tries to kill Moses. Okay, so maybe that's not necessarily your first thought, how Moses would have gotten out of this situation. There's a danger, God's trying to kill him, his wife cuts off his son's foreskin, touches it, ambiguous pronouns, we don't know, to his leg, and this saves Moses. What do you think? What happened? You might know more of the story, you might know some of the rabbinic background. Okay, how did this work? How did Zipporah save Moses' life? There's no wrong answers, don't worry. I'm a friendly teacher. I'll make your answers sound good. What happened? Yeah.
Reestablishing the sign of the covenant to Moses' life?
We have it right here. That's a great answer. It's not the answer I'm going to go with. Don't worry, that didn't spoil the whole sermon. But yes, this is the rabbi saying, oh, okay, there is something happening with a bris. The covenant is happening. What did you say, Andrew? Reestablishes the covenant.
The sign of the covenant. Since they were so far removed from the God of the fathers being in Egypt, it was helped to just reestablish that connection.
Yeah. And also, Moses has been living in Midian where they don't do circumcision, so maybe his son Gershom isn't circumcised, so we need this sort of like re-establishment of a connection to God, and that somehow saves him. Okay?
Was it also Zipporah Moabite involved? Maybe she's like, I will all of the covenant because I was not raised in there.
There's a good point in there, which is, well, how does Zipporah know about this? How does she know about the bris to remove it? That's not the sign of her people that they remove the foreskin. Somehow Zipporah is involved. Okay, so we have like a little bit of a smart wife who's learned her husband's culture, despite having never been to his home country. So we have a good thing embedded in there. Maybe there's something about reestablishing a connection to God for protection, or something about having a very clever spouse saves you. I like both of these. But like, what's happening here? Why is God about to kill him? How does this save him? You can make it up. Any guess? Yeah.
Wasn't Moses supposed to have the circumcision first before embarking on the journey, even though God said to go to do?
This is the way the rabbis square this hole. They say, oh, well, yeah, Moses didn't do anything wrong, but he should have circumcised Gershom before they went to go do this, because he had a little baby, and the baby should be made part of the covenant. But he didn't want to do it because then they're going to go on a long journey. You don't want to do surgery on a baby before you start schlepping across deserts. But then they got to this hotel, and instead of doing the circumcision there when it was the good time, he starts dealing with like eating dinner and getting their bags into the hotel. And so God is like, what? This is the time. So in true rabbinic fashion, they craft a whole story to explain this. But yes, there's definitely a sense that maybe in the rabbinic understanding, God is pressuring Moses to have circumcised his son. Otherwise, he's going to kill him, which seems a little bit dramatic and not necessarily the punishment that we usually imagine for not circumcising your child. Anyone else have any ideas of what's going on? God tries to kill Moses on his way to Egypt, but Zipporah manages to save him.
Wait, could it be? I mean, there's so many commentaries, so it's really uninfluenced by the million possibilities.
I love it. Yeah.
So basically, could it be that actually Moses, we had like the fight between identities, the Egyptian, the Midianite, the Hebrew. Could it be that in a way, all him hesitating or not doing or not having the brit and so on was like stalling and so on, and that was like a moment, that's it. If you're gonna go to Egypt, you have to really follow all the rules, follow the brit, all things. So it's really a moment of hesitation, or maybe not wanting to go even, to do the job. Well, Moses, to start with, never wanted to go and do the job. So it was the last minute push him before. I think it's an amazing little wife did it. And I'm so proud of her. And that's giving us all women, and regardless, giving us a good feel about who we are, and other people can be also. Gentile can be also part of our tradition. This is an amazing story.
I love this. There's several things in there. The first one I'll pull from the last thing you said, which is maybe this is a beautiful moment when there could have been doubt that a husband and a wife and their little baby are going to go do something dangerous. She could have said, okay, this is a you people thing, like, I'm not in. But the fact that Zipporah, maybe God is testing that, and Zipporah says, no, I'm with you to the point where I'm going to circumcise my own baby boy, which I don't have children, but I can imagine would be absolutely terrifying for a mother to do. That is really her buying in. They're in this together as a family. And then the thing you said before, I'm actually going to spin a little rabbinic yarn out of. Moses is raised in, Pharaoh's house. He looks like an Egyptian. When he gets to Midian, they think he's an Egyptian. He's now spent most of his adult life, he may or may not be 80. I don't really keep track of rabbinic numbers, but he spent most of his rabbinic life in Midian. You could imagine when there is a terrible time where he needs to do something dangerous and scary that he doesn't think he has the skills to do, to go save a people that he's not really connected with anymore. You might imagine he would say, well, I'm not really like I grew up there, but that one's on them. You might imagine he would lose track of why he's doing this. And so maybe he's starting to dally and God gets mad. Or maybe there's a moment here, and the way that all kinds of danger and threats can really make you sick of your decisions, where he needs to buy in to the Jewish people. And there's no better way to commit him to this task than to make his son irrevocably part of the Jewish people. He might have said, I'm not really a Jew, but now your son is part of that. Your son will face the consequences. And so maybe this is the genius that God has, or Zipporah has. I like giving it to Zipporah, but they're really working together in this bizarre, enigmatic episode. And like anything I say, you can walk away with your own completely contradictory understanding. But what I want to leave you with tonight is this. That maybe this episode is focusing in Moses' mind what is so important to him. Why should I leave my home on a dangerous journey to go redeem this people? I do it for the sake of my children and my children's children who will be part of this people. Whether I can get by in my lifetime avoiding this task or not, I'm not setting up my children in a world where they are full of their own nation thriving. They have a people to belong to and a place to go, if I don't take part in redeeming Israel. So in some way, by briefly making the story about bringing Moses' child into the covenant, we get this sense that his priorities are now intergenerational. He's not just fulfilling a task for himself, but when he makes his way to Egypt, he's making a world for his sons to belong to. And just so too, as Moses makes his way to Egypt and overcomes danger and obstacles, so too, I think, especially on this Shabbat, as we gather together, knowing where we are in world politics, we wish all those involved with liberating captives and freeing anyone from Egypt the tools, the strength, the presence of God, maybe a quick-witted wife, to help them arrive safely and complete their task. We'll continue with Mari. Please rise as you're able. Page A. Be seated. Page 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavam, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol melecha, v'hayu Adonai ha'elah, Asher Anochim etzavecha, hayom al gadecha, v'shiachtam levadecha, v'shivcha b'beitecha, v'ratecha b'derech, v'shofecha l'tunecha, v'shalom l'oyenecha, v'hayu l'shatecha b'neinecha, v'u'tachtam al b'beitecha, v'yisharecha. Adonai Elohechem. Malchum Torah from Kibul Aleichem, Moshe Miriam, B'nai Israel, Zachar Shirat Simcha Rabbah, Merulam. Shmor tzeitin u'goyin, chalim u'shalom, ve'ata ve'adalam. Ufros aleinu sukat shalom echa, baruch atah Adonai, haborei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amu Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Please rise if you're able, page 46. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael, ve'etam Shabbat. Wasot et Hashamat v'tortam beritolam Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Hashamat Wasot et Hashamat v'tortam beritolam Eilu b'nei Yisrael Oti Eloham Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Hashamat Wasot et Hashamat v'tortam beritolam Yishem Yamim Asadonai Asadonai et Hashemayim et ha'aretz Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Hashamat Wasot et Hashamat v'tortam beritolam Yom HaShvi Shabbat Vayinafash Shabbat Vayinafash Shabbat Vayinafash Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Hashamat Wasot et Hashamat v'tortam beritolam Continue individually, pages 47 to 52. If you're in personal prayer, please continue to meet on page 50. ויפלו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחלקים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה. וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויפאר את אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי לא שמע מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים עשה. Oh,
L'chaim.
I have you who want to help me out on page 56. You. Page 56. Oh, sorry.
I think we mentioned her, but not in Hebrews.
Rebecca Alhadeff.
Sorry?
Rebecca Alhadeff.
Warner's Cottage, page 58. Vayikon Yisrael, Vayikon Israel, Harim Rumen, Yisrael Barak Elohim, Yisara, Yishtaba, Yitahar, Yitramah, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shmin, Kusham, Rehu, Eva, Mikol, Irkata, Shirata, Yishakata, Benekamata, Amira, Be'alma, Bimru, Amarava, Min Shemaya, Chaim, Aleinu, Be'alkol, Yisrael, Bimru, Aseh Shalom, Bimrama, Uya Aseh Shalom, Aleinu, Be'alkol, Yisrael, Bimru, Maybe seated. Shabbat Shalom, welcome everyone. We have Mazal Tov this week to Sydney Sachs, her mother Sarah Sachs, and grandparents Carolyn and Stan Shepard, her father Kevin Sachs, and grandparents Nancy and Steve, and her bat mitzvah tomorrow morning. Mazal Tov to Jenna Epstein, her parents Sarah and Greg, grandparents Sharna and Michael, and Lynn and Joel, on her bat mitzvah tomorrow afternoon. To Emily Danzig and Arnon Zalmanoff on the birth of a son, Aviv Dan Zalmanoff. To Karen and Craig Semt on the birth of a granddaughter, Magnolia Jude Retterbush. To Amy and Michael Siegel, not that Michael Siegel, the other one, on the birth of their son, the other one, right, Asher Jordan Siegel. Welcome new members, Paula Carte and Benny Chick, and their sons, Moses and Alan. And unfortunately, we also offer condolences on the passing of Andy Lippman, husband of Andrea, father of Avery and Ethan, son of Charles, brother of Emily and Richard. Other things coming up. We are looking for members of our community. We are glad you are here, and we are hoping that you will come back. Not only in the future, but even during the week. We want to bolster our daily minions. Some of our regulars are away, so whether you can come in the morning or in the evening, there is a sign-up genius. We want to make sure that we are, have at least 10 if we can help it. And also on that note, Monday our minion will be at 8:45 in observance of Martin Luther King Day. Boomers are going to lunch at Goldberg's on January 22nd. RSV'd up Eileen Abrams. Next Friday night, the 24th, services are at 6. And there is a congregational dinner, especially welcoming new members. And it is our JTS Scholar in Residence weekend. Rabbi Mark Hirsch will be with us. A great chance to learn from a rabbi my kids actually like, I'm just saying. Let's see. On next Sunday, a week from Sunday, our next synagogue, the dog park meetup is at 10:30. Reach out to Rabbi Bright if you are interested in joining the synagogue. And then in 2 weeks, January 31st, it is a community-wide initiative called Shabbat Across Atlanta. So we're going to have services early at 5:30, and we are encouraging congregants to connect with each other, to host each other for Shabbat dinner. We are making matches. Valerie Chambers, our Director of Community Connections, is making that happen. But please reach out to anyone at the Shoal if you want to host, if you want to be hosted. We want to have people have a Shabbat experience together. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I got additional.
Yeah.
Okay, my additional announcements, well, one is just fun days, just so you know, synagogue happens on our property. We have our own dog park. You didn't know that. The other thing that I wanted to say is if you haven't signed up for the Women's Retreat, although some have, registration is closing. I have flyers. If you're not a last-minute person and you want to think about going on a weekend retreat to Ramat Rome with the Women of B'nai Torah in the future, you can still take one and then start working yourself up for next year. But if you want to know more, I'm happy to talk, and I have some flyers for you to look at. It is awesome. It's beautiful up there in the mountains. It's a great group.
All right. And tomorrow morning we will be at 9 a.m. Tomorrow evening we will be at 5:30. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom. We'll finish up with Shalom Aleichem on page 5. Shalom Aleichem,
Shalom,
Please stick around for Kala.